Welcome, dear students. I hope that you have done it well in the previous activities, and well, the most important that you have learned a lot. In this moment, we are going to continue with our second topic, that in this case is the past perfect. Maybe you have listened about these grammar terms before, or maybe it's the first time, but the intention is that in this session, we're going to make it clear what it is about, okay? So let's go to take into account that the past perfect is the grammar tense that helps us to make reference to the events or facts that happen at first. Okay, so when we are going to focus on narratives and when we are going to focus on telling stories, is going to be really important. Okay, we're gonna start with that introduction, guys. Firstly, let's go to take into account that the past perfect tense is used to show a sequence. What does it mean? So, as I mentioned before, you are gonna have facts or situations that happened at first. Okay, so what is important to take into account? You're gonna try to understand the order of the actions. Okay, for example, over here, you have an idea that says they had finished dinner before the movie started. If you check the example, you're going to be able to understand that the action or situation that happened at first was this one. They had finished dinner, and later the movie started. This is first, this is second, right? Here you have like a detailed explanation about this example, right? But the most important is that you try to make this analysis, that the past perfect is making reference to the actions that happened at first, okay? So when it's common to use this grammar tense? It's common to use it when we're going to talk about something that happened before another past action. Like here, I was bored to death because I had already seen the movie. So what happened first? That this guy had already seen the movie. And that's the reason why he was bored. Okay? Or for example, to give background or explanation in a story, that's really important, for example, in the case of storytelling. By the time the police arrived, the thief had escaped. Ah, okay, what action happened before? This action. That in this case, the thief had escaped. And later, the police came or arrived to the place. Take into account that in the past simple, you're going to make reference to the main event that occurred in the past, and generally you're going to have time expressions. For example, look at this one. I fell asleep at 10 p.m. When the person mentioned at 10 p.m., here we have a specific moment in the past. Or look at the second. She screamed when she saw the dog. Okay, you can imagine the situation. This person or this girl or this woman saw a dog and immediately she screamed, ah, right? So the situation over here is to take into account that you have a clear narrative, but let us know what's the main event or what is the main fact. Now, if we focus on the past perfect, take into account that the past perfect tells what happened before. For example, I had worked all day, so I fell asleep like a log. So that situation makes reference. Okay, this person was working a lot and suddenly fall asleep. Okay, so the point over there is to take into account the chronological order, right? Or look at the second situation. She screamed because she had been scared stiff by a noise before. So here you can imagine that this one was the first fact. She listened to this sound or this noise and later she screamed. Okay? Here you're going to have some examples with the idioms that you have in the vocabulary list. For instance, I was sick to death of the film because I had watched it millions of times. So important to take into account. This is the fact, no, the person was sick to death, and this person had watched the film before. So this is the option that happened at first. Okay, that's gonna be your clues. This one is the first one. This one is the second one. I was scared Steve because he had forgotten to lock the door. Okay, what happened first? That the person forgot to close the door, and that's the reason why the person got scared. Okay, so look at the next one. I slept like a log because I had been studying all night. So in this one, the person studied all night, and in this case, the consequence was that I slept like a log. In this example, there is an exception. I guess that we're going to check this in the next unit, but I want to clarify it, and is that in this part, we are making use of the past perfect continuous. In this one, well, just like not to make the idea longer, more thoroughly, is because you are describing a situation that was in progress in the past, but this one is making reference to the first action that was in progress, okay? In the next unit, we're going to check this detail deeply, but I want that you take it into account, okay? And what finally we have, she shouted like a lunatic because she had lost her phone. So first of all, she lost her phone, and later she shouted. Okay? If you continue checking, for example, over there, guys, the document two, you're going to realize that you have other examples, but those ones are just making reference more to the common or typical mistakes that people tend to make. So look at, for example, the first one. I had went. Hey, be careful. I had went. Remember that the conjugation is with past participle, no simple past, all right? So look at, for example, this one. I was tired because I worked all night. But the situation is, this is interrupting this action, or you are making reference to something that happened before. I guess that in this case would be the second one, something that happened before. So the right conjugation would be, I had worked all night. And that's the reason why, sorry, I was tired. Okay? Here we're gonna try to do some exercises. Look at, complete the sentence with past perfect. She was bored to death because she see the play twice. They were scared stiff because they hear strange noises before. I slept like a log because I studied for the exam all night. So come on, guys, try to analyze how will be the right answer. In fact, the exercise is pretty simple because you need to conjugate just using the past perfect. Okay, so if that's possible, try to write your answers in a piece of paper. Well, now if you have them, let's go to check. The first one will be, she was bored to death because she had seen the play twice. They were scared stiff because they had heard strange noises before. I slept like a log because I had studied for the exam all night. Well, guys, I hope that you have understood what this main topic is about, that you have gotten better examples, that you can contextualize better. Well, just to conclude, we're going to summarize. Remember, you're going to use the past perfect, the conjugation is we had, and in this case, this V3 is more that making reference to the third line of irregular verbs, okay? But if the verb is regular, don't forget that it's with ed at the end, okay? And the intention is to mention things that happen before another, sorry for the line, guys, before another past action, okay? So take into account that here the situation happened before of this action, okay? You can combine these grammar terms with exaggeration idioms to make stories more vivid. No, the intention is like to have the capacity of involving just people in our story, that people feel interested and that they get the emotions that we are trying to transmit to. And but finally, don't forget that he has clarified the order of events in storytelling. So, guys, thank you so much for your attention. My best wishes in the second part, where we will see in the next unit. Best regards. Bye bye.